So, lots of my videos, they are, unfortunately for some, reminding them about who and what they are. Lots of people might want to forget who and what they are, but when you say things like fat blokes, fat birds, skinny blokes, skinny birds, short blokes, short birds, excessively tall blokes and birds, and ugly, and all this sort of thing, then there may be pangs within the heart of certain listeners, because these words, they touch on inner scars. And for years, whilst I was at school or college or wherever, they were traumatized by certain acknowledgements, certain perceptions that people had, in the day when people were much more free with that. I mean, when I was growing up in school, we all knew what we were. There was no doubt about who and what we were, because everybody always used to tell us. And I remember sitting in a classroom speaking to two hot girls, and they were assessing all the guys in the class, and they were saying about me, and they were saying, well, the thing is with Aaron, I mean, he's got nice hair, he's got nice teeth, a nice smile, but his nose is a bit on the big side. And then they were looking around, picking the fault. Nobody really was perfect. And if somebody had perfect features, then he was often a tosser or a bitch. So this is the life we live, isn't it? And nobody wants to speak about these things anymore, because there's some sort of stupid bullshit liberalism going on, where everybody is the same, and we've all got feelings, and it's very important not to hurt up, because if we do, excuse me, and all this fucking nonsense. I mean, know thyself, people. Fucking know thyself. And if you are what you are, one of these, that and the other, you fucking are, aren't ya? Some fuck all love you out there. When we see obese people, you're like, how would sex work with that person? I don't know how it would work. With either party. How do two fat folk get it on when they've got an enormous amount of splodgy stuff between their genitalia, which is going to be preventing them from the act of copulation? I just wonder how that shit goes on. But I've never been curious enough to look at it on the internet. I don't want grossing out. I really don't. But, and then, when you've got people that are skin and bones, you think about the sexual act and you go, how does that fucking work? How does it work? Or you've got, two vertically compromised people, pecs, midgets, dwarves, gnomes, elves and some fucking thing, all those sort of things, those tiny folk. Yeah, how does that work? So why doesn't anybody, well, there is one person I think in the whole wide world speaks about these things, and that is the great and the awesome Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais will talk about everything, and he'll talk about it just because it pisses people off. And so that's pretty well how I am on it. Now, Gervais, he found his fame through his genius, and you can't stop genius. You just can't. You can't cancel genius. It just doesn't fucking happen. And so he is immune. Basically, is immune because he could always come back with some level of creation which is going to steal the minds and the hearts of the plebs once again. And how many people live under these constraints? How many people find it tiresome? How many people, when you look around and you say all these things in your mind, fucking hell, that motherfucker's one ugly motherfucker. And then you got people working in close proximity, and they've got bad breath and rotten teeth, and just a lot of shit going on. And it's kind of like, oh my god, the human being. And so this is why I've always been in the greatest of avoidances. I don't like them, to be fair. I don't like them. And I don't care for them liking me. So therefore I can be very Schopenhauerian and free, very Nietzschean. You see, all these philosophers, they said what the fuck they wanted to. And they lived in solitude mostly. They lived in isolation, self-induced isolation, because they just really didn't need anybody. And they obviously felt that they were all very, very mundane in comparison to their level of intellect. So I was listening to another video, and it was someone speaking about Carl Jung's work. And what this person did, collated all of the greatest and most powerful of points that we go through when we become awoken. And it was about a half an hour long, very well put together, and it just states that the universe will put you in isolation, not for punishment, but for a very good reason, because it knows you're ready for self-growth. And so, those of you that have been through the dark night of the soul, I'm talking through the dark night of the soul, people. I'm talking through, deep depression and isolation, and a numbness and a dullness with the world. The whole world just looks grey, dull, and you no longer find any reason why you would want to be with the vast majority of your family, and you'll change all of your so-called friends, and you'll never ever see the vast majority of them again, and all these different sorts of things, because you go on a different ride in a different dimension. And when you come out of that, you've gone through the chrysalis stage. You were a caterpillar, just munching through life. Then you became putrefied, and then in that putrefaction there was incredible growth. How does this caterpillar become putrefied? And during this stage of putrefaction, where the whole body just dissolves, and then within that slime are the constituents of a new life form, i.e. a butterfly. And then the butterfly will break out of the chrysalis, spread its wings, and adorn the world with its beauty. Yes, and that's what happens when people wake up. They come out of that putrefaction stage, which is the depression, where we are deeply, deeply introspecting, and we don't care for the outside world. It means nothing to us. We've just got to work this shit out what's going on within us, and then slowly and slowly we do, and then it becomes more and more beautiful. We start to see initially a glimmer of light in all the darkness, and then the light becomes more and more bright, and then we peel our wings open, and then we take flight, and we become a different creature, and we flutter on by all of the caterpillars, you see, and that's where the vast majority of people remain. They remain either as a caterpillar or this chrysalis stage, whereby they're just dull. They're nobodies. Will there ever be anybody? I don't know. But one thing's for sure, people, we need to be in the dark for a long time. You can't just be thinking you had a dark night of the soul when it lasts 3 months or 6 months or 1 year or something like that. You know, mine lasts 7 years in its most profound, and then it lasted another 7 years, getting lighter and lighter and lighter all the time. And it was only kind of like in the 14th year, people, that I felt finally emancipated from it all. And so when we do this, when we listen to people who have done this and who are intelligent, and they've put the pieces together and they've worked things out and they've done their homework and all that sort of stuff, well, then you get the making of a philosopher or a spiritualist, a thinker, a seer. See, crossing these roads, and what? You know, you've got these streaks of hell. They're literally streaks of hell cutting through suburbia. And so I have to cross them every day when I'm going to the gym or the supermarket. But then it's just like a fox running over a road back into the bush, back into the sanctity and sanctuary of the foliage, the shrubbery. Yes. All these lost souls whizzing around. Yeah. I mean, there may be some that aren't lost souls and feel the necessity and requirement for doing this, getting on these rat runs. But I think a true spiritual person just steps outside of that. And I haven't drove in many years now. I don't know how long it's been, like 8 years, something like that. I just ain't gonna do it. I'm just not partaking in that shit. I hate every single thing about it. Not doing it. So I'm walking, from the supermarket with like 10-15 kilos of burden on my back, which most people wouldn't dream of doing. They just wouldn't dream of doing it. Walking to the supermarket about a mile, so you got a 2 mile round trip, lugging all the gear back. They wouldn't dream of it. And so what do? You sell your soul, people. You sell your soul, because what lugging around this burden does for me, it keeps it all real. And crossing these ley lines of hell keeps it even more real. And in a few seconds I'm going to divert off this hellish ley line, and I'm going to walk down into the peace and tranquility. And this is where I reside. You see that difference? You see the difference, people? All of a sudden it just fades away, doesn't it? It's just fucking faded away. See? Almost gone now. Yes. But most people, they don't step outside of that. They don't step off those hellish ley lines. They're on them 24/7, running around like Tron in the Matrix. That's what they're doing. You just got to step off it, people. And then when you step off it, well, you've got God consciousness. You've got cosmic consciousness. You feel the sun on your face, and you look at the clouds in the sky. You listen to the birds sing. You watch all of the life forms going through their cycle of life. You notice things. You're involved with things. You are it, and it is you. And you're living a level of truth. Within the Maya. Of course, it's all Maya, but we're living the greatest semblance of truth, connected to that which we are, the natural world. This electronic gadgetry world, they call AI, or even if it's mechanical, it's a mutation. It's a short-lived mutation, people, because the human beings won't always be involved in these. Now, look, the combustion engine started to be developed. What was it, like late 1800s? The first mass production car to come off the production line was Henry Ford's Model T, and I think that was about 1912. And so really, we've done little more than 100 years of this combustion shit, and now we're folding it down, we're closing it down. We've had enough of that fucking crap. We tried it, it was useful for us at a moment in time, but we don't want it. We just don't fucking want it. And they're going to electric now, but that's going to be short-lived also, because we won't want that either. What else are we going to have? Some sort of teleportation. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll learn how to teleport. Or what we'll probably most likely do is what they're working on now is we'll work societies to a point whereby it isn't necessary for them to travel. You're listening to me, people. You've heard it here first. They are going to be working societies to a point whereby it's absolutely not necessary to travel. Therefore, you won't need roads, you won't need cars, you won't need any of this shit. Whatever transportation is going to be going on around the globe, it's going to be in the air by drones, by some sort of free fucking energy, tapping into the cosmos thing, anti-gravity things. There's going to be those people, without a shadow of a doubt. And so therefore then, all the roads will be gone, and all that variety of infrastructure. And you see, I heard that the Emirates were building this super city that is so technologically advanced, and everybody is going to be vetted to be able to enter there, because they only want quality people. You can't have no degenerates or anything like that. You've got to have a license actually to be there, and it's going to be super high tech and cosmopolitan and all that sort of thing. So yeah, the Arabs are building that, and I haven't looked at it in a long time. I think this was about maybe 5 years ago that I was looking at that. And it's kind of like the way forward for cities, How you doing, guys? Yeah, and so like in China also, they build the companies that own these companies. They build the cities as well and provide for all the people. So the people don't need to go outside of the company complex. And of course they're massive because they've got skyscrapers in them and everything. And they've got monorails that drop them off at work 1 minute or 2 minutes away from their high rise. And within these high rises, they've got like botanical gardens and gymnasiums and discotheques and shopping malls and all that on different floors. And the people seem to be pretty happy. If they're born into that, then they really wouldn't want for anything else. And if, like the Truman Show, they are discouraged from any travel because the planes are falling out the sky and all the tickets are booked, and the places where you might want to go are under dictatorship, and all this propaganda that they do to keep people contained. So they keep them contained in their 15-minute cities, people. So, lots of shit's going to go on. And we've got it all to look forward to. And as a philosopher, as a introspector, as an observer, as a person that's in touch with my essence and psychology and all the rest of it, Well, when you are in that realm, you don't want any of that stuff out there. You really don't want any of it. You just want to be left alone. And you just want to enjoy mostly the natural world. Whatever you consider yourself to be, your true self. You want to enjoy your true self. You want to be unencumbered. You don't want to be bullied, manipulated or marginalised via a billion muppets in society. You don't want to be mediocre. You don't want to fall in line with everybody else. You just want to be yourself. And so, then you have choices, people, when you pave your way for your world. And that's what I've done. Have you done it? Have you done it?